Welcome back, Game Day Squad coaches. My name is Tom, and today we're going to dive into round 8 for the Game Day Squad Aussie Rules show. We have a full team. First of all, Callum, how are you going, mate? Are you ready for today's episode?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. I had a great week of fantasy on the weekend. Port got a win. I'm a Hinkley fan all over again, so yeah, life's good.
Dude, life is good for you. You can't lie. And Kerm, big fella, how you going, mate?
Good, mate, good. The Sunny Boys got in the winners column as well. So Callum and I are on cloud now, 9. We don't want to talk about the Swans and your boys just yet.
I would love to talk about the Swans.
I know.
Do you, Tom?
Let him ease into the show.
Yeah, we'll ease in. But today, guys, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at a player's performance from a fantasy perspective and doing other fantasy breakdowns to help you all get game day ready. So let's start off the show how we normally do. Kerm, take it away, mate, with your pack of the week.
Yeah, this is one of my favourite parts of the show because we get to bring you guys from the community into the show. But unfortunately this week, I saw absolutely nothing I liked. So Discord was a little bit of a desolate wasteland when we're talking about pack openings. But the good news is there is always an opportunity for you guys to get in and win yourself some free packs. So as always, head to our Discord. All you got to do is chuck a screenshot of your pack openings in the pack openings under the AFL tabs under Discord, and you automatically enter into this competition. So it's easy. All you got to do is screenshot it, get it in there. You never know. It might be, we have different criteria every week. I'm going to keep the criteria the same. I want to see some good packs again for next week. I haven't seen some good packs in a little while. So get them in there. I'm keen to see what you guys produce this week. It could be anybody, and this could be you.
100%. I agree. Any pack you open, just screenshot it. Get it in the Discord.
And unfortunately, my pack from the live show was the definition of an awful pack. So, yeah unfortunately, I would have liked to have been able to submit that and win a few more, but yeah, that was far from it. So the bar, it was not high this week. So yeah, make sure you do get them in.
Yeah, that was very brave bringing up that pack again because that was ugly. That is not what you want.
I still feel bad for everyone that... Yeah, I thought they were getting a good card out of it, and then, yeah, we've stitched them up with just absolute horror show of a pack. So,
oh, mate, very true, very true. But in brighter news, as we spoke about before, Callum, you had a fantastic week in fantasy this week. I saw the Cows Cannons on the leaderboard, which means you've done quite well. Woo! So let's get into our team reviews, and why don't you take it away, mate? Break it down for us.
Mate, that is my rugby league team, the Cows Cannons. So I've had an awesome week because I'm dominating in both our Aussie Rules and our rugby league games. But the Peanut Butters, mate, on the Aussie Rules side, we finished 5th this week in the Classic competition. So unfamiliar territory for us. Kerm, I know you're up here all the time in the champion competition, but massive, massive week for me. 2,510 points you can see there. Going through my stars, a Silver Petrarca, 184 points. I've stuck fat with him all year, and he's finally had an awesome game there. And the other one, Bronze Rowan Marshall. So big call during the week. Do you go with Tim English or do you go with Rowan Marshall? I doubled down on him coming up against my Port team. I thought it was a bit of an emotional hedge, thinking he was going to have a field day. But he did. It was the best case scenario. He had a field day and Port still won. So really happy with my team overall. It's pushed me up to 15th, so I'm catching. I'm getting back up to that top 10. The only sort of dud I had in my team was Mason Redman with that 80. I know a lot of people were hurt by him, and Butters was my only other score under 100. So I really can't complain too much. I'm pretty happy with how things went this week.
Mate, it seemed like loyalty paid off for you. You stuck with these guys all year, and they haven't really been producing the results that you would have hoped for, but stuck with them, and look at that. You reap the rewards of that loyalty. So you do love to see that.
Yeah,
but let's get into my team, the mighty Zeus Cannons. We didn't do horribly this week. We actually finished 20th on the dot. We finished with a total score of 2,440. So not quite the mark of the Peanut Butters, but looking at the team, I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, I dropped Andy Brayshaw. Callum, you said last show that you were doubling down and that you believed that he was going to bounce back, and bounce back he did. So that was also another great call that you made throughout the week. Should have had more faith. I put in a bronze Bontempelli over him. Yeah, regrets there. Massive regrets. Should have stuck with the Brayshaw.
That's fair,
another
considering
one,
the Bonds
he was
form,
super
though.
Disappointing.
As much as I love Brayshaw, I have Bonds as well, don't I?
Yeah, you can't kick yourself too much.
Yeah.
There.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, true. But I had him. Lockie Weller for me in my backline. He was super disappointing. That was someone I was really optimistic and bullish about heading into this matchup. Of course, we've spoken about the Took Miller being out. It was just one of those weird games when I watched it. Lockie Weller was everywhere, all over the field, but just couldn't get the pill in his hands and do anything with it. So it wasn't a work rate issue. It wasn't an opportunity issue. He definitely has that upside to him. It just didn't bounce his way on the day. So that was quite unfortunate for him. My forward line this week was fantastic. Honestly, I think I had 5 of the top 6 scorers for the round. So could not ask for more for my forward line. It was fantastic. And my defenders, even though I've got Doherty back, I'm still feeling like there's a hole there. There's still a missing piece for me. I definitely need to work out who can slot in there and be a consistent producer. But overall, not disappointed. 20th. Can't complain, mate.
Yeah, obviously in the packs there, top 20 is where you want to be. And yeah, your forward line is still looking very good. I'm so envious of that Sheasel card. I will get one day.
But Kermie, mate, take it away. You're our champion player here. How was your week this week? Or last week, sorry.
It was frustrating again, and it's sort of been the story of my season up until this point. And it's not that my players aren't really performing. I've got the cards, but I just keep shooting myself in the foot over and over and over again. And the big one, the elephant in the room, I did the same as you, Tom. I lost faith in Andy Brayshaw, and it came back to bite me in the backside in a big way. You can see there I put Jacob Hopper, of all people, into my midfield there, who up until this point had been, like, in my own, to govern my own footsteps a little bit, he was averaging about 117 odd points, and I liked the matchup that he had against the Suns without Took Miller. But he was nowhere. It felt like a fever dream. I could not see him out there at all, and it's a massive regret. I'm going to be jumping straight back on the Andy Brayshaw bandwagon. You can believe that. And I've definitely learnt my lesson and burnt myself there. But I'll learn from that, and the positives are Rowan Marshall. Cal spoke about him, 182 GDS fantasy points. I don't think we can say it's a one-horse race for the ruck anymore, and Tim English, who was the bona fide must-start at the position. Rowan Marshall has crept straight back into that discussion after that 182 score, because his scoring ceiling is incredible. And Tim English can match it 100%, but those two should be regarded as the top 2 at the position going forward, I think. And like Cal as well, I had Zach Butters, who I was a little bit disappointed in. He had some more opportunity, CBA opportunity, but his time on ground is still a little bit low. I think he still had just 74% time on ground for the game. So my round 6 score of 3,015 points was good enough for 12th, which I'm sort of okay with, but I want to push into that top 5 again next week and try and get that seasonal ranking back up into the top 3.
Wow, what a round for all of us. And I think that now means that all of us within our respected competitions are now within the top 15 for the seasonal rankings. So, Kerm, you've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the show, mate. We appreciate it, but me and Callum are slowly getting back up into that sort of range.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like it. A little bit of validity on the show. I like it.
And we know Hef from the Keeper League
mate,
took out first place in the classic competition, so I know he was stoked.
Congrats to Hef.
Yeah. Tom, I want to go straight into the next one because my point of what you just said kind of rolls into the hot seat. And I had such a good week this week. I was looking around at who I wanted to throw in the hot seat, and it was only really going to be Redmond. But I'll be honest, Redmond is out. Doherty's coming straight back into my team for next week, so there's not even a chance for him to regain it. So I don't want to throw someone on there who doesn't deserve it. So, Tom, this week I'm actually going to put you on the hot seat because I'm catching you. I think that's 3 weeks in a row. I'm clawing my way back after copping the barrage for my slow start, missing some players. I'm hearing your excuses about you're at Splendor or wherever you were, grooving, missed playing a player. But I'm here, mate. 40 points behind you. By this time next week, I'll be ahead of you, and that'll be it for the rest of the season. You won't be seeing me again. So putting you on the hot seat, just letting you know that I'm right there behind you, as you pointed out before. But yeah, you need to step it up if you want to stay ahead of me.
That's funny because how can you be in the hot seat when I'm still ranked better than you? I'm literally still better than you.
Because I'm coming.
In every aspect of the game right now. You don't have anything yet, though. Like, it's very bold call to go, you're in the hot seat, when all I've done is increase my rank every week. I've only gotten better. We both started about 20th. I'm at 14th. Well, we're both just getting better. You've beat me 2 weeks in a row, but like, I feel like
This
there's
is interesting, man.
a lot of mistakes I've made, and I have the talent and I have the team to stay on top, in my opinion. But it's a long season. It is a very long season.
If your team was so good, you wouldn't be putting anyone in the hot seat. But I'll throw to you. Over to you. Who do you have in the hot seat this week?
Hey, before we move on, to play mediator here, like just for the audience's, their knowledge going into this week. The two boys over here, the two Classic League guys, Callum and Tom, they're going to be at the Magic Round this weekend. We love all our sports here at GameDay Squad. We like to include all. We have a rugby league game on the other side as well. So the guys are going to be going to Magic Round this weekend. What if we put a little bit of extra gravy on this matchup going into this week? And if Callum, you overtake Tom this weekend, maybe the other owes the other a beer at Magic Round this weekend. What do we reckon? A little bit of extra mayo on the matchup this round.
Will we know
Yeah,
by
lock
the end of
that
the
in,
game?
mate.
I think
Callum.
the last game's not till like late Sunday night.
Sunday night.
So it'll be a very late.
That's fine. That's fine. You can...
Don't worry, you'll know, Callum. You'll know on Saturday, man. Don't you worry about that.
This is where we need the
Just a
projections
little
in.
bit of extra sauce on it.
All right, we can do something. We'll figure
Yeah,
something out.
and,
We'll come back
as
to it.
Cam
That's a good
said-
one.
Yeah, and as Cam said, if you are at Magic Round for some reason and you like both codes like us, just come say g'day. Come say g'day to the fellas. We'd love to meet you. I'd love to see your team. Would be awesome. But let me get into my hot seat selection. And as you said, Callum, you didn't have anyone in the hot seat this week from your team. And I sort of
That's too
steered
good.
away from someone who's actually in my starting lineup. But I want to talk about someone who was a regular feature last year and was thinking pre-season this year that he might be featuring in the team again because of how good he did play. That's not the case anymore. I haven't even considered playing this player, and that is Jamie Elliott, the forward for the Collingwood Magpies. So Jamie Elliott wasn't a bona fide stud last year. He didn't have the craziest average, but what he did do is towards the tail end of the season, he was constantly scoring in the triple digits for fantasy, which in a forward line, you take that all day. So, it's just uncharacteristic this year. He's only averaging 69 fantasy points per game. He's kicked 5
Really?
goals in 7 games this season so far. It just seems like he's a bit underdone. Like in that forward line, the Collingwood Magpies definitely give him the opportunity to take over in games and to kick a lot of goals and even get up the ground and take some kicks. But it just hasn't gone that way this year. So, yeah, I'm throwing Jamie Elliott in the hot seat because prior, there was a consideration that he could start. Now, for me, there's no chance that Jamie Elliott can start in any GameDay Squad team.
And
I like that.
I haven't even thought about his
you
name
go,
this
Cal.
season, and I'm just looking at the transfer market there. You can get a silver Jamie Elliott for 19 cents. So, yeah, people are definitely reflecting how they feel about him in that transfer market price there. So, yeah, an absolute almost for nothing there, right, if you wanted and you had faith in him. But I think there's a good reason he's at that price. I don't know, how old is he now? 31? 30? He's been around a while.
He's 30. I just looked it up, and you got to point to the off season as well because Collingwood have gone and got Bobby Hill from GWS. You've got Jack Ginnivan coming back into the squad and working his fitness back up. And then you got the ascension of Ash Johnson as well, who's been killing it for Collingwood. So it's a very busy forward line for Collingwood at the moment. And I think a lot of the players in there, from a fantasy sense at least, are still trying to work out their roles and how they can rack up those disposals. But yeah, you're right. Jamie Elliott isn't playing like the Jamie Elliott of old. And from a fantasy standpoint, you got to wonder whether he can work back into a role that's going to be viable for selection.
100%.
Yeah, wow. And a Jamie Elliott gold card is only 50 cents. So, yeah, not a lot of people liking him. That's a good one, Tom. Kerm, who have you got thrown on the hot seat this week?
Yeah, mine's going to be pretty obvious. Unlike the other guys, I've gone for someone who I selected because I'm a bit salty at myself for making this selection in the first place. And that's Jacob Hopper. He's going to leave as quickly as he came in for, as I mentioned before, Andy Brayshaw or Tom Green or Zach Merritt. It was an indie pick. I thought I was being a little bit cheeky, coming off 127 and 116 in round 5 and 6, but he could only muster up 74 GDS fantasy points. as a midfielder for the Richmond Tigers against the Suns without Tuke Miller. So, yeah, he's a player who I've liked in the past, and he's shown glimpses at being like a fantasy relevant. You know, at GWS, at least, he showed glimpses of being fantasy relevant. And at Richmond, he's had a decent start. In round 2, he scored 123, round 4, 94. Round 5, 127, and round 6, 116. But he just has these games in him. And I'm really disappointed I made the selection. He's going to be gone next week, and I'm not sure he's going to have to earn a lot more trust to get back into my squad later on in the year.
Very fair, very fair. Timmy Taranto, doesn't help that he's been so good as well. So when everyone talks about the two guys that have come over, and Taranto's been an A+, and Hopper just hasn't been. So, no, fair enough.
Yeah, 100% right. I agree. But let's move on, guys. What I've done today is we're going to add a new segment into the show. Ooh. And not only are you guys going to participate, but we're going to get the audience to participate as well. So if you are watching, I want to know what your selection would be down below in the comments section. But let's get right into it. Something I love doing, and I know they do this a lot in the NBA, is you've got to pick Team A or Team B. And you'll build two different teams. And we're going to talk about which teams you guys would take today out of the two teams that I've built. So let's get right into it. Team A. The defender for Team A is Jack Sinclair. I just want to quickly cover as well. Don't worry about gradings, card. They're all bronzes, for example, and this is the team that you would take. Your midfield for that team is going to be Darcy Parish. Your ruckman is Sean Darcy. And your forward is Connor Rosie.
Do we even need to
Team
hear
B?
Team B?
Ooh, I think you'll like Team B. Team B has Will Day as a defender.
Oh, I love him.
Midfielder is Christian Petrarca. Your ruckman is Timmy English. And your forward player for Team B, rounding it off, is Nick Martin from the Essendon Bombers. There's your Team A, Team B. There's some great players in each. Which one are you going with and why? That's what I want to know.
You've actually done well here.
Yeah, I thought you'd stuffed up before you said Nick Martin, and that really threw a spanner in, because I was like, how is Team B not going to be the one here? But I don't know, I love Nicky Martin as much as you do.
Yeah, you have to.
And I love Will Day. I think Will Day is one of the best dynasty picks at the moment, league-wide. I'm so high on Will Day.
What about your boy, Sean Darcy from the Dockers? Are we just... He was your boy last year. Are we letting go?
He was my boy last year. Let me just quickly, while we're thinking about this, I'll just look up his stats really quick. I don't know them off the top of my head.
I think my bias for Rosie is swaying me A, which probably tells me that Team B is the right team. And I think I'm going to go with B. Just because you've got players in Day and English and Petrarca. None of them are... What's Petrarca, the oldest one? He's 27, 28 maybe. So you've still got a few gun years from him. Whereas I feel like on the other side, Sinclair's a little bit older. Parish, I don't know where we're going to see a better version of Parish than we've got at the moment. Yeah, Rosie's obviously going to be an absolute star, and I love him. But Team B for me, and then I'll find a way to try and swap out Martin for Rosie.
I love it. I think it's funny you say with Darcy Parish, like, you saying that he hasn't reached his potential. This guy gets like 38 disposals every week. I'm not even surprised anymore when I look at the score and he's like 38 disposals, Darcy Parish. He's such a gem.
Parish is insane. I love Parish, and he's in my team. He won't be leaving anytime soon. God, this is tough, man. I think the discrepancy between Rosie and Martin is a little bit bigger for me than it is for you guys. Obviously, Nick Martin is an incredible dynasty pick. He's going to be a great footballer for Essendon for a long time. And he does have that fantasy nous about him as well. But Rosie, maybe a little bit older. He's got a few more games under his belt. He's got a more fantasy-friendly role for Port Adelaide. We love Ken Hinkley now, right, Cal?
Hashtag Hinkley in. Yes, we do.
But in saying all that, I think I'm going to go Team B as well. I love Will Day. I said it just before. I think he is so good. And the role that he's playing for Sam Mitchell in that midfield, rotation is incredible for fantasy. He loves the cuddle. His kick to handball ratio is one of the best in the league. As an accumulator in the midfield for Hawthorn. And I didn't think it was possible, but Christian Petrarca just quietly has gone to a completely new level. He's matching. Obviously, we talk about Oliver a lot as fantasy. Are we analyzers? I don't know. But Christian Petrarca isn't getting the flowers from the community, the fantasy community, that he deserves, because he has gone to just the moon and back. And his way of scoring through, whether it's scoreboard pressure, kicking pressure, he can accumulate the ball as well as anybody at the moment as well. He can tackle. He's got it all. Christian Petrarca has been so good. And that's not a knock on Darcy Parish. I think Darcy Parish at the moment still just pips him. But Christian Petrarca, I don't think we've even seen the best of him yet. And I know, again, we speak a lot about Oliver, but they need to be on the same level. Tim English is Tim English. He's the best ruckman in the league over Sean Darcy. I still love Sean Darcy, who I just checked is averaging 112 GDS fantasy points, which is a lot more on last year. But Tim English has just gone ballistic. And then, yeah, as I said, I think Nick Martin and Rosie, there's a big discrepancy there, but I'll take that punt on Martin. Give me Team B.
I love it. And just quickly, I know you talk about your love for Will Day. One of the things that impresses me the most with Will Day is how versatile he is as a player. He just seems like he can do it all. He's really long, he's athletic, he's quick. It seems like he can play forward, back, and midfield when needed. He's clean below his knees, getting the ball in one grab, getting out and getting to his boot, footy to boot. So that's why his kick to handball ratio is so good. And he can kick a goal. Guy can snag a couple as well. So he just seems to be able to do it all. And if you're that young and you're as a prospect, you're looking that good already, I do agree with you. He's a very enticing player, and people should be zoning in more on Will Day and how good he's going to be in the future.
And
speaking of zoning in,
hasn't fallen below triple digits all year so far. Every game he's gone over 100, so consistent.
And for that reason is why I haven't been able to get a Will Day anywhere near my team. The cheapest silver on the market is currently $50, and I love him, but I don't love him that much.
Oh,
Can't get him in my team. I do not own a Will Day card, not even a bronze. So, yeah, he is someone I'm desperate to get in my team.
Likewise.
So, yeah.
I will say I've been trying like you, Callum, and similar to yourself, I've been listing up some what I think are good players and some high-rated players, but still not enough because he's that good. So time will tell. Hopefully I can snag a bronze in a pack soon.
That would be nice. But
alrighty,
nice.
Let's get into the next part. Callum, this is your bread and butter, this. Let's get into it. It's lock of the round. Take it away. Explain why it is.
Why it's my bread and butter, because I never get it wrong. As you can see there, the only times I do are when the players don't play and you don't let me have another pick. Because, Kerm, you picked Rowan Marshall a couple of weeks ago. I told you that he loves me more than you, so I picked him, I think, for the exact same amount. Mm-hmm. And he went and hit it yesterday, over the weekend. So he was my easy pick for 115 points. I've gone to the top of our little standings where I've been for most of the year.
Could have had 150.
As expected. Could have had 150. Didn't need it. Didn't need it to be ahead. So this week, I'm actually going to go a little bit higher for me. I'm going to go 125 points, and it's going to be for Timmy T.
Oh.
So he's coming up against the Eagles. He should have another. They should have a blinder and should all kick 100 goals each because the Eagles suck. So he's who I'm locking in this week, and he's who I expect to take me even further ahead. How you guys going? I don't pay much attention, but how you guys going with it?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Actually, look, not as good as yourself, but I seem to have a pattern, and it's I missed one, I hit one. I missed one, I hit one. You can see the changing of the blue, the red and green there. So it does mean I'm due this week. That's what I've been able to tell. I missed last week. It means I'm due. So I'm hoping I can hit and potentially you miss, Callum, so I can close that margin. But yes, you've had a great start. But I don't like to play safe like yourself. I don't like to ever go under 120. I think I've made that quite clear over the year. And I thought there was a gentleman's agreement prior that we would take some risk, but apparently that went through the floor after your first miss. So that's all good anyway. Let me get into
I
mine,
never agreed to that.
That
was floated on the show, and I was ambushed, and I declined to jump into that little one.
So have a crack, mate. Have a bit of fun. But it's all good anyway. We do this in good spirit, in good fun, because it is fun to go head-to-head in this. So when we talk about the Gold Coast Suns, and Kerm's going to chirp up here, because he loves when I talk about his Suns. It's very easy to forget about Noah Anderson, and it's only because that Took Miller light shines so bright. Everyone looks at Took Miller, how good he is, his disposal efficient, like he's just so good. So good. But if you go have a look at how Noah Anderson has been playing recently, he is a stud. He's in such good form, and for that reason, I'm going to lock him in for 127 fantasy points. I'm very, very happy with how Noah Anderson's been playing. I chucked him in the lineup last week, and he absolutely dismantled it for me. So, yeah, let's go. Noah Anderson, I'm about it.
I love that.
It's a good pick.
Coming up against, I think we got the Demons, so it like if it's never, you could say what you want. You could say what you want, but he's so good, as you said at the moment. He's averaging 123 points on the year. The guy's gone ballistic. One of the best dynasty options, doesn't get spoken enough as a dynasty option. I love him to bits.
Yeah, 100%.
So good. But for myself, it's nice to get back in the winners column, I got to be honest. I wish I had Walshy for a little bit more at the end of the day. But in hindsight, hindsight's a thing. I wish I could have done more. I love Walshy. I went with my heart. And this week I've gone a little bit riskier. I've gone Zach Butters, who's been very, very up and down.
Ooh, very risky.
But I like the matchup against the Bombers, yeah. Very, very risky. I'm hoping his time on ground percentage goes up a little bit. In Kenny, we trust. Zach Butters, I think. I've only got him down for 115, so I've gone a little bit light, but I think the player himself is a little bit risky, so that's why I've gone for that score. So, yeah, hopefully I keep that green column going and keep it rolling, because God knows I need it. And if it's not, I'll be very sad come this time next week.
Well, for Port's sake, I hope he hits
names
that.
this week.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, some great picks there. And what I'm more interested in is what our community vote is going to be. And where you can find that out for Lock of the Round is on our live stream, which we do every Thursday night. So come along. We do plenty of fun fantasy breakdowns, and we also give away 6 cards for 1 cent. Yes, you heard that correctly. We don't know what those cards are going to be yet. They could be some of the best players in the game, or if it's like Callum's pack last week, could be some of the worst players in the game. We're not quite sure, but yeah, please hop along, download the app, get in amongst it, play Game Day Squad today. But that's going to wrap us up for another episode of Game Day Squad's Aussie Rules Show. Thank you so much for checking in, and if you have made it this far throughout the video, please leave a like, drop your comment about Team A or Team B. As I said before, I want to tally up what everyone's done, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.